So, what's more important when you're trying to get your money right? Being smart with the math or staying motivated enough to see it through? That's the huge question at the heart of one of the most popular and, yeah, one of the most controversial methods out there for getting out of debt. It's a system built on one big idea. When it comes to your finances, how you act is way more important than what you know. Let's dive in.
And this quote right here, personal finance is more personal than finance, is the foundation for everything we're about to talk about. It's such a powerful idea because it suggests that our biggest money problems aren't going to be solved with a calculator. Nope, they're solved in our heads by figuring out our own psychology. The whole system we're exploring today is built on that single belief.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll size up the problem, the debt dilemma. Then we'll get into the core idea, the 80-20 rule, and the plan itself, the 7 baby steps. After that, we are jumping straight into the big debate, snowball versus avalanche. And we'll wrap it all up by looking at the psychology behind it and what it all means for you. Okay, first up, the debt dilemma. To really get why this system is so intense, you have to understand the financial reality it was designed to fight against. And wow, this number really tells a story. Almost half of all families are living right on the edge, with less than a single month of savings to their name. Just think about that. It means one unexpected car repair, one medical bill. It isn't just an annoyance. It's a full-blown crisis waiting to happen. It's the reason so many people fall into debt in the first place. So, what's the philosophy that powers this whole approach? It all comes down to what's known as Ramsey's 80-20 rule. The whole system is built on this belief that personal finance is 80% behavior and only 20% head knowledge. Now, for some people, that sounds kind of backwards, right? But what it's really saying is that success with money isn't about being a math whiz or having complicated spreadsheets. It's about changing your habits, changing the way you think and act with your money every single day. So a philosophy is great and all, but how do you actually put it into practice? Well, you do it with a framework called the 7 baby steps. And here it is, the complete blueprint. Check out the order here. It's really important. You start with a small $1,000 emergency fund. Now, that's not going to make you rich. What it is going to do is stop a small emergency, like a flat tire, from completely derailing all your progress. Then, once you have that tiny buffer, you move into the most intense part, baby step 2, where you attack your debt. But for today, we're really going to zero in on that part of the plan because it's easily the most debated. And this brings us right to the heart of the debt destruction phase, where that 80-20 rule really gets put to the test. It's time for the great financial debate, the debt snowball versus the debt avalanche. The method used in the baby steps is the debt snowball. The strategy is super simple. You list out all your debts from the smallest balance to the largest, and you completely ignore the interest rates. Then you throw every spare penny you have at that smallest debt until it's gone. The goal? A quick psychological win to build momentum and make you feel like you can actually do this. Now, the alternative, and the one that many financial experts prefer, is the debt avalanche. With this strategy, you prioritize your debts with the highest interest rates first. Mathematically speaking, this is the most efficient way to pay off debt. You will pay less in total interest over time, period. This slide just lays out the conflict perfectly, doesn't it? The snowball is all about that psychological boost. You get quick wins, you stay motivated. The avalanche, on the other hand, is pure math. You save the most money possible by crushing those high-interest debts. It really is a classic battle of behavior versus the balance sheet. So, which one actually works better in the real world? Well, this is where it gets fascinating. While the math absolutely favors the avalanche, the data on how we humans actually behave tells a different story. A study from the Harvard Business Review found that people using the snowball method, the behavioral one, paid off their debt 15% faster. And the reason is so simple. They were more likely to stick with it because those small early wins kept them in the fight. So that begs the question, right? Why does this behavioral approach work so well for so many people? Well, it comes down to the psychology of intensity. This system has a concept called gazelle intensity. And yeah, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It comes from an old proverb about escaping a trap like a gazelle from a hunter. It means you get obsessive, a single-minded focus on destroying debt. We're talking extreme lifestyle cuts, a sense of real urgency. You're supposed to attack your debt like your life actually depends on it. But, there's a flip side to going that hard. Critics argue that this level of extreme deprivation can absolutely lead to burnout. It can create this kind of binge and purge cycle with your money. For some folks, that all-or-nothing approach just isn't sustainable, and it causes them to give up and fall right back into old habits.
So, knowing that burnout is a real risk, how do you choose the right strategy? Well, this is where it gets personal. It's about creating your own financial game plan.
And honestly, the choice comes down to self-awareness. You have to know yourself. If you know you need those quick wins to stay fired up, and if you've tried and failed to stick with a plan before, the snowball is probably your best bet. But if you are super disciplined, you're patient, and your number one goal is to save the most money possible, then the mathematically superior avalanche is probably the way to go for you.
And that brings us to the final question. When it's your money on your journey, what's more important? The pure math or the powerful motivation? Because at the end of the day, the best plan isn't the one that looks perfect on a spreadsheet, it's the one you'll actually stick with. So, what's your winning strategy going to be?